All take your seats and please, if you will, put your phones on vibrate so we do not have ringing phones throughout the meeting. We'd appreciate that. My name is Marge Masita and I'm the chair of ANC 6E, and I'm calling this meeting to order at 6 minutes after 6. Antonio, you want to do the roll call?
ANC 6001.
Present.
2,
Here.
3,
Present.
4,
Here.
5,
Here.
6, here, 7. Here.
Okay, everybody's present and accounted for. Thank goodness. We have a quorum and we can conduct business. We need to to approve the agenda. So members of the commission, if you would take a look at what's on the agenda, and if you have any additions or changes, please let me know.
I move that we approve the agenda as printed.
I second.
The agenda has been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. We need to approve the minutes from last month's meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes of the May 2016 ANCCC meeting with any corrections to be sent to Karen Gale.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes from last month. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Karen, that's, you have 7+700 for everything so far? Okay. Comment in blue. So who do we got first? Since you're up here, you are from which district?
My name is Sergeant Fauzi. I'm from the 5th District.
And let me just say that 5D, I represent, best officers here, is that I represent only two blocks of 5D, and we talk about it every month because it is the most active 2 blocks in my entire area, the end. And this month, in addition to talking about Coopers, we're going to talk about oral sex because we have gotten...
I'm glad I came to this
That's
meeting.
right, come to ANCCC for some action. So we have some alleys there that, frankly, it's just awful. And this past, last month, we got it on tape, just a horrible, not horrible, just a sec, right there in front of everybody, didn't care, broad daylight, oral sex, and beyond the Coopers. And I thought it was daytime. Well, I think things happen during the day too. Well, nonetheless, so I requested last month that there be more presence there, and I heard from my constituents that there was more presence, and I didn't want to elaborate.
Yes, so we had a special beat that's focused in that area, and since we've had the officers there, we have not received any complaints. When I say the officers, I mean officers on mountain bike, officers on scooters, and we have an officer on a Segway, the little two-wheel vehicle. So we have those going through the area, and we haven't received any complaints yet. So it seems to have made some sort of a difference in the short term.
I haven't gotten any videos the past 2 weeks, which is good, because usually I get all sorts of videos, and we have a new set of cameras going up from a constituent, so that should be interesting. So I've got very active constituents over there who put cameras up in the alley. One of them did comment to me that he saw the squad car go through, but there wasn't really much stopping. So I don't know if you tell them to stop in the alley or stay for a little bit, or how does that work?
Well, usually they'll stop outside of the alley and walk into it. We don't usually stop the car in an alley. But if you saw a car go through and not stop, get the number on the car. I'm pretty sure there's a good reason for it, but I'd like to know who that is. But they are instructed to hoof it, so to speak.
Great, that's great. As I said, I haven't received any videos, and I would receive videos, I want to say, almost on a daily basis. So,
Okay.
a lot better.
Great.
That's it. That's it for 5D.
Sir. Not you, sir. That's sir. Yeah, you want to come on up?
I'm Sergeant Martello from the 1st District. I'm from BSA 103, and I think we all kind of move to 102 this year. I know the biggest problem right now in 1B, well, the crime that's up the most, let's put it that way, is we're getting hurt with thefts from auto right now. One of 3 and 1 of 2. There's a few other things going on too. That seems to be the big increase in thefts and thefts from auto. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I know we're definitely up there. Some areas it's almost double from last year this time. So, a lot of that just comes from, a lot of the thefts are coming from Walmart. A lot of them are closed thefts, but they still go on as thefts. You know, people get locked up for shoplifting or whatever in there. And then, you know, like again, the thefts from auto, you know, people parking their cars, leaving their stuff out. They get broken into, but that seems to be the biggest problem right now. Does anybody have any specific concerns that I can address? I know normally it's mostly 3 and 5, I think. If anybody has any concerns, questions, anything I can address, feel free.
I would just like to say thank you. We had an unfortunate death in 475K a week or so ago, and 1D did a fabulous job coming in and taking care of that incident. I really appreciate that, and I think it's important to let you guys know when we're really pleased with, we had a suicide and it was handled extremely, extremely well. So we were.
Well, I wasn't on that scene, but I appreciate it, and I will definitely pass on the sentiments.
Well, I do appreciate that, and I do appreciate all the detectives and all the police who came in and actually stopped at the desk and gave badge numbers and things, so we have a record of who's been involved in the case, so greatly appreciate that. And just one other comment on the car theft stuff. We say this every month, we say this every week, and especially in the summer months. If you leave anything in your car, a penny on the seat, someone will break in and go rifle through everything. If you park in an indoor garage, the same thing. Make sure you lock your vehicle, because we're having that problem at Fifth
It could
Street.
even be an empty box. They'll break in just as soon as it's in the box, so just be aware. I know last year, and I think even earlier this year, we had some of those little tickets we were giving out. They're not really tickets, but they're little pink slips we leave on people's windshields. Like if we walk by and see something in the car out, we would leave on the windshields. I think I might see if I can get some more of those and maybe have them officers go around of those things just to get people some attention. Because they walk up and see the ticket on their car and like, oh no, I got a ticket. And then it's just a little advisory saying, hey, you left something out that's visible, you know, be aware of that kind of thing, so.
Because no matter how many times you tell people, they are walking around with phones and they are leaving crap in the car and they don't even think about it. But we appreciate your making comments on it.
Does anybody else have anything? Okay.
Very good, thank you so much.
I see you.
Is there someone here from DPW?
Yes.
Y'all are here. Okay. And you going to be Christopher?
I am.
Okay. Do you need a mic?
No, I'm okay. Thank you all, and thank you commissioners very much for the invitation this evening. My name's Chris Shorter. I'm the director of the District's Department of Public Works. Very happy to be here tonight and really, again, appreciate the invitation. The Department of Public Works here in DC provides what we would traditionally call municipal services for the district. Many of you have the dashboard. That dashboard gives you a sense on the left side of what we do in terms of our primary business areas. So solid waste management, fleet management, and parking enforcement. And you can see on that dashboard sort of the agency by the numbers, if you will. And so what we do in terms of output. We've issued as many this year, almost 900,000 citations since October 1 to present. And so that again gives you a sense of what we're doing and what the agency is responsible for. Right below the fleet management box is the sort of top service requests. And so what you see there are the numbers of calls that we received last week for these types of services. So for bulk trash collection, parking enforcement, residential parking, permit parking. I get this dashboard from staff every week. And so I'm managing and sort of really pushing the agency to think of our services by the numbers. And so I like to show this at community meetings because it gives you a sense, certainly gives me a sense of what types of requests are coming into 311. For this ANC this year, since October 1, I think we've issued just over 21,000 citations for 60 parking citations. We received just over 2,500 311 service requests. And so, again, it's a very active community, and certainly we appreciate you all working through 311 to get a lot of the service requests handled. That said, I have one or two announcements. One, we are out of snow season, but I do want to remind you that for those of you who called or have family or neighbors who called 311 to get exempted from the sidewalk shoveling law, that is an annual process, registration process. So tell your friends, tell your family that they should plan to call in again in November to get exempted from that law. If they called in to get a volunteer to help shovel their walk, that's also an annual process, and that they will call in at the end of the year before the winter season, or even during, to request a volunteer to help with sidewalk shoveling. One program that many residents don't know about, but I certainly like to talk about, is the hardship program. Our trash and recycling crews bring trash and recycling bins right up to your front door for those residents who are over 65 or who have a physical disability. And so it prevents them from actually going to the sidewalk with their can. So if you have a neighbor, have a family member who needs that sort of assistance, we provide that assistance. Just call 311 and we will get you registered for that program. That is not an annual program. That's not a program where you have to register for every year. Once you're in the program, you're in the program until something changes. You sell the home or you move. Other announcements. We started our great graffiti wipeout about 3 weeks ago. And so we are making our way through the district in each ward, wiping out every tagging or graffiti piece that we see. We are also continuing to work through the 311 service request. And so we will continue that for the next 4 weeks, I believe we're 3 weeks in. And so I think that's it in terms of announcements, and I wanted to open it up for questions, concerns.
I have a question. A few weeks ago, one of my neighbors' retaining wall was damaged by a truck picking up trash, and I know it's been like 2 or 3 weeks. Is there a person in the department that I could talk to myself to help get that wall repaired?
So the district, so I'm happy to take the address and sort of to dig this, to make sure that we get to this, but that request would go to our Office of Risk Management. They would be responsible for actually representing the district here and getting the repairs done or paying for the repairs if they've already been done. We wouldn't negotiate directly with the resident in that particular case. Many of our, I would 70% of our trash and recycling crews live right here in the district. And so I like to make sure I remind residents that the people at DPW that serve you live, in most cases, live next to you, and so, or live in the district. So when those sorts of things happen, I like to know about it because I want to make sure I get with the crew that services that area. But that particular sort of, in that particular instance, we wouldn't negotiate repair. Okay, but I will get that address from you tonight. All right.
Okay, so I have 3 concerns. One being the process for illegal dumping. There doesn't seem to be any project management behind it whatsoever, and I've expressed this to Celeste, and I've been talking about it for years. So I'll put in a 311 request, I'll ask the inspectors to come out, and then I'll tweet it, because I'm known for putting the 311 in my tweets, and it goes both ways, and I'm telling you over and over again, the stuff doesn't get picked up, no one gets fined. And I advocate for finding my constituents. I could care less if they get fined for dumping on the sidewalk. That said, there is no follow-up. There was one just the other day from the end of April that still was not picked up.
Yep.
Tweet, my constituents called it, I did the 311. So for years now, there seems to be no process in the legal dumping, how it works.
Right. So this is the exact reason I'm managing the agency. I've been with DPW for about 9 months, so I can't really speak to what may have happened years ago. But when I get a complaint where a service request has been opened, then I could track down where exactly that service request is, if it's been closed or not, where the problem is. So while I hear all the time that I've called 311, the service request has been closed, but the service has not been done, I'm still able to go back and find out what exactly went wrong. So I say that to say I really want to implore you to continue to use 311 where you can, and where there are failures, with getting to the bottom of those. So that said, we receive thousands of illegal dumping requests every week. And so while that is certainly no excuse, we are tracking a number of these kinds of requests all the time. Our inspectors are going out, in some cases digging into public litter bins to find out who's using those litter bins for their own personal use and dumping illegally. And when we find mattresses and that sort, I believe the service standard is 5 days. And so we're going, we're doing our best.
It's been going on. I mean, this is whether it's you, it's not 311, because I talk to Wanda all the time, so it's, it's Wanda 311. It's not, it's something within DPW that there is no project manager with it. It's obvious.
There's definitely project management. So we have a street analysis crew that's responsible for illegal dumping, and a crew that I'm, a division that I'm certainly holding to some standards. But if there are specific requests that we're not responding to, that's why I'm here. We're going to get those from you tonight, and we'll make sure that we respond. If someone is being evicted, we usually give a few days before we come, at least 24 to 48 hours before we come and collect those items, because in most cases that resident wants their things, and once we take it, it's gone. But in cases where we're just not making the mark, then I want to get that from you tonight, and we'll make sure that we get those things.
Okay. So my next thing is the lawn mowing.
Yes.
So we've got large parcels of land. Celeste has this little map.
I do.
My constituent made a handy map for me about government parcels of land that are mowed inconsistently. And it has been the bane of my existence every summer. And it literally, they'll come and do half of it, or one parcel, 3 parcels, whatever, never the whole thing. And now I've got a brand new parcel to add to it at 5th and New York Avenue. So that's just one more parcel that's not gonna get mowed.
Let me
So
ask you, why is it brand new?
Oh, because there's a new hotel that came up, and so they changed the island. So now we have a brand new public space parcel that's significant, and already the grass is overgrown. So my thing is, how is that managed when they can see the overgrown, but they choose to do only half of it, and then the other half, I just don't get it.
Sure. Let me explain sort of grounds maintenance in the district. The Department of Public Works, the Department of General Services, the Department of Transportation, our Housing Authority, the National Park Service, the Public Library System, and there may be 1 or 2 others, are all responsible for different parcels of land, right? Some pocket parks, some medians and strips. What has happened this summer, about 2 months ago, the Department of Public Works took over management of all property maintained and mowed by the Department of General Services. So in the past, where we were responsible for 314 parcels of land in the district, in past summers, we are this summer responsible for over 1,000, because we took over responsibility from the Department of General Services. So that means the contractors, the third-party contractors that the city has used, about 5 contracts in the past, we are now managing. And so we are cutting properties every 2 weeks this summer, regardless of what we call the level of care needed. So even if a property doesn't need to be cut every 2 weeks, if we could do a 3-week or 4-week because of visibility, because of the sunlight, because of how much water that particular property gets, we don't need to cut on a 2-week basis. This summer, because we are taking over the care and service, we're cutting every 2 weeks so that we can assess the need. If there are particular properties that we haven't gotten to in past summers, or that has been sort of inconsistent in past summers, I have to say that this summer I've gotten some great reviews from commissioners and from others in terms of the level of service that's being provided. So if there are properties that we're missing or that may or may not be under our portfolio, we're happy to sort of work with the agency responsible, or if it is us, make sure that we're covering
Charter
it.
has those, they were cut last week.
Except for the metro part.
Exactly,
But they think it's metro, but it's not metro.
we're trying to isolate one, but the other two on there are on schedule for the 14-day, and they were cut last week.
Great, and I didn't mention Metro, they're another.
Well, they're not, what people assume that, and I had a high-level meeting about grass mowing last year. I couldn't believe it. I was having a high-level meeting about who owned these parcels.
Yeah.
And I had to prove to them it wasn't metro.
So part of why we merged our oversight with the Department of General Services is because of the confusion. And so when I came to DPW and realized that there are so many agencies involved in grounds maintenance, the simplest fix was for us to work with the Department of General Services to take over their properties. As this summer goes by and we sort of get a handle on making sure that we have this portfolio of properties, then I'm sure we will continue to work to maybe service some other agencies in terms of upkeep. So if there's more there, then we're happy to sort of listen. It seems that you're talking with Celeste on a regular
Yes,
basis.
all the time. So, and then just lastly, it was shameful that people were not ticketed for the blizzard, for not shoveling their snow. And I understand that came from the mayor, but people should have been ticketed during the snowfall, the blizzard this time. So moving forward, I would expect that people get ticketed for that. I mean, that was just that people did not shovel their walkway, and they knew they weren't gonna get fined, so there was no
Well,
punishment.
Well, the
Which is not
city
your.
doesn't shovel their walkways.
No, but they were
either,
gonna
or their
get
park
fined for
areas.
not shoveling it by DPW, and
Yeah,
it
but I'm
didn't
saying
happen.
they can't find themselves, but they don't clean the sidewalks either.
Well, they could've
so
given
we
the fine.
dealt with a 26-inch snowfall this season. So this was the first time the district's had to deal with that much snow in such a short period of time, in a very long time. And so, yes, the mayor made a decision that she wasn't going to use this as an opportunity to cite residents.
It was the
because we
perfect
had a lot.
opportunity.
Well,
blizzard.
the mayor decided otherwise, and I support that decision and agree with it. We were dealing with a number of emergencies and people who needed access, and to use this blizzard as an opportunity to cite residents is not a direction the mayor wanted to go, and I support that. Moving forward, we are obligated to follow the law, and we will, our inspectors will cite residents for not shoveling their walk. It's one of the reasons I started the way I did. I want to make sure that residents know, for those who are eligible, over 65, and who have a physical disability, please do register with us through 311. And for those who need help, please do register for a volunteer.
I have two questions for you. The first one being the corner of 6th and K. Everybody's driving on the sidewalk. Parking enforcement never comes when you call them.
Driving in
Today
cars.
at lunch, 10 cars went from the parking lot on the sidewalk to the alley and turned. Nobody came out after I called, nothing. That's one issue. I mean, this has got to stop. The second issue is in terms of trash pickup and cleaning up and doing all the snow removal and whatever. Those of us that have SID or BID, are our general taxes cut back because we pay extra to have this service in our community? Because you guys never pick up trash at my building. We have a private contractor because we have to. You don't clean the streets, you don't do anything for the people in my single-member district because we have a bid. So my question, and the question from my constituents is, their city taxes, are they reduced because you don't offer the services? So we're being charged for trash pickup when we don't get it, we have to pay for it.
So these are two very different, so because you live in a business improvement district does not mean that the city does not service your area. Now, if you're saying that your apartment building, or if you're living in a residence that is an apartment building, a condo, or for whatever reason is serviced by a third-party private hauler, then you're absolutely right. the Department of Public Works does not collect your trash or recycling. But that does not mean that the Department of Public Works does not clean your streets.
But they don't.
Okay.
Been here 8 years, they've never cleaned the streets, they don't empty the trash, all the trash containers is done by the SID, all the snow shoveling is done by the SID.
So we
Well-
support the business improvement districts when they remove trash from litter bins.
Do you pay them something?
They come to us, we have a compactor and 3 refuse trucks stationed so that we can collect trash from your bid every day, 3 times a day, and take it to the transfer station so that your bid doesn't have to. So the city is providing services. We are working in tandem with business improvement districts to provide services. The question of your taxes is not one that I can answer, but I'm happy to get back with you in terms of any tax burdens that you have that others do not because of where you live. But I would
My single
say,
member district is over 10,000 people. And if,
but I would say that because you live in a business improvement district does not mean that the city provides services different for you than it does for someone who doesn't live in a business
they just
improvement
don't
district.
supply the service, let's not get into that.
Seems we've already gotten into
Well,
it.
6005. Well, we have, but I mean, but your organization does not supply services to us. Mount Vernon Triangle has a SID, and we have our clean team, and we do all of our own cleanup, and we get charged $120 a year. But that doesn't reduce our city taxes because we pay for someone else. And this is a law passed by Congress, so there's no way we can get out of it.
Right, that reminds me, for those residents, so we do on weekends all the time, and I've personally done this, community cleanups. So those residents who are interested in having DPW come out, provide rakes, trash bags, or any other service or supplies for communities that are interested in doing cleanups, we are happy to do that. We do it all the time. We do it every weekend. I've given certificates to some residents and community organizations that have decided to do it. So we really do endorse it and push as best as possible for residents to do that kind of thing. Any other questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
So to wrap up on the new mowing responsibilities, so can you run us through, again, which agencies, or are you handling all of the agencies that previously DGS was handling mowing on? Is that
Correct. So in past summers and past mowing seasons, the Department of General Services has been responsible for all parks, school properties, pocket parks, and so those parks at the ends of blocks that are district owned. And so what we've done is in some medians, and so what we've done is taken over, that's about just over 700 or so properties, 789 properties. And so what we've done is taken over responsibility for those properties and included that with our portfolio. Our properties, the 314 that DPW has managed in the past seasons, we manage through our own, we cut using DPW employees. The properties we assumed from the Department of General Services, we cut with private contractors. We use a private contractor to cut those properties. And so we have a number of quality assurance, quality control processes in place this summer that have not been in place in the past and that are electronic. So we're managing, just like with this dashboard, sort of a scorecard of properties. And that includes our own as well as those properties managed by contract.
So I'm going to add a couple of properties to your list to watch because they've been chronic problems when DCPS had responsibility for them and then DGS as well. So the grounds at the old Shaw Middle School on the 900 block of R Street and on the 1600 block of 9th Street Northwest are chronically overgrown. And the neighbors are regularly complaining, and you can check with the Mokers, you know, they get the phone calls all the time, and it's been an ongoing battle for years trying to get that regularly scheduled mowing that those neighbors feel they're entitled to.
I appreciate that. We took it down, and I'll make sure that I look into it. That's exactly why I come to these sessions, to sort of hear kind of where those issues are. So those two properties we'll look into.
So next, recycling collection has been particularly troublesome on a couple blocks in my SMD. So the 1500 and the 1600 blocks of 8th Street, because the alleys from which the recyclables are collected are not contiguous, because there are medians and larger developments at either end. The trucks have a tendency not to go down and collect the recyclables on a regular basis. So we often have been calling, special assistants in your office, who have been very dutiful about getting, trucks to come back. But it would be great to have those recyclables consistently collected without having to pick up the phone every couple of weeks to get that done.
Absolutely, absolutely. Which blocks?
So we're talking about the 1500 and the 1600 block of 8th Street Northwest. Specifically, the alleys that are between 7th and 8th are the most troublesome. Right now, there's some construction taking place in the alleys, some DC Wassa construction. The trash trucks get there early enough to pick up the litter, but the recycling trucks, when they come, can't get through the alley because the alley is closed. So I was asked by
It's closed because
constituents.
of construction?
Yes,
Okay.
So there's sewer construction.
Okay.
So I was specifically asked by constituents today, what should they be doing with their recyclables while that construction is taking place? Because the recyclables would either have to be collected before or after the alley is temporarily closed, because it's only closed during construction hours.
Sure. Let us get back with you on this. We have your contact information, so we'll get back to you on this.
6E01, showing how long I've been at this.
6001. So don't give them any guidance just yet. I wouldn't want them to pull the recycling up front. We need to figure out kind of what's happening here. Construction should not hinder us from doing our business. So we'll need to follow up on that.
And people have said, hey, we need to, move the super cans up to the end of the alley so that can be accomplished. They're happy to do it, but, they're now accumulating, so we've got about 3 weeks worth of recycling that's piling up. So
3 weeks?
yeah, it's a longer project. So, and then lastly, and we correspond